Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
It's March Mania at Sports Interaction, NHL, NBA, MLB, and of course March Madness, and so much more. It's bananas. Play Pinata Picks and Minute Madness, exclusive games with insane odds that you can't play anywhere else. Make your next bet with Sports Interaction. Download the app in Ontario using the QR code at the bottom of the screen, or head to sportsinteraction.com/STPN to get started. 19 plus, please play responsibly. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Game Over Ottawa. Probably going to be a very depressing episode tonight after how that game ended. How are you feeling tonight, Charlie?
Pass.
Yeah, totally fair. This is a rough one to come on stream and try to talk about. However, before we get into ranting about tonight's game, which I'm sure there will be lots of ranting to be done, I have something weird in the background here that I need to address with a little bit of a shout out as well. So last night I went to the Sens and Leafs game with my girlfriend Gwen and her friends Harmony and Sarah. And Harmony and Sarah are a couple who Sarah is a Sens fan and Harmony is a Leafs fan. And Harmony made
work.
Yeah, Harmony made a little bit of a bet with me that I believe it was if the Leafs won the season series against the Sens. So if the Sens had been able to beat them yesterday, it would have been a tie. But the Leafs ended up taking the season series 3-1, and it was that I had to do some sort of Leafs related thing on the stream. I'm just glad that it didn't end up being that I had to wear a Leafs jersey, because I would never have been able to live that down. I would have hated doing that. This is not so bad. But anyways, the weird shirt in the background is a Ottawa Senators t-shirt with 13 Sundin on the back, as you can tell. It might be a little hard to see the Sens logo at the top there, but obvious Sens logo on the front too. And so Harmony, who's the Leafs fan, had gotten this as kind of like a joke gift for Sarah, her girlfriend. And then there is also a Alfredson number 11 Leafs t-shirt that Sarah got for Harmony. So absolutely cursed shirts that exist here. And I lost that little bet, had to put this one up in the background, that Senators Sundin shirt. How does it make you feel, Charlie?
Looking at it's like, when they like uncover like old t-shirts and like hats that say like champion and it's the
Yeah.
losing team in the final. It's like that, but so much worse.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. All that cursed merch that just exists. There's probably some Senators 2007 Stanley Cup champions merch somewhere out there, just in foreign countries, like that they just got rid of. They
I
banished
don't
it away
know
from North
what makes me
America.
more upset. That or the like seeing an '07 Stanley Cup champ shirt or that Sundin shirt. I don't know which one is.
Yeah. I'm glad it was the Sundin shirt that I have here though, and not the Leafs Alfredson one though, because that one
Oh, that's
makes me
yeah,
more angry.
that's
Like,
worse.
as much as Sundin is a complete Leafs legend and we're not supposed to like him, at least if he was on the Sens, that would have been cool, compared to if Alfredson was on the Leafs. That's a dystopian nightmare.
Yeah, I can't even like talk to Red Wings fans. So like that's all they have. Like the only thing really hate about the Red Wings is just Alfie's last season, which we don't talk about.
Yeah.
If it had been an issue, if it had been like a scenario where either one of Sundin or Alfie do that final year in the opposite Ontario team, like it's bad enough between Sens and Leafs fans already. That would be a whole new
Oh,
level.
that would be horrifying.
And I don't even really want to think about even.
We almost have a little bit of that with Spezza having gone to the Leafs, but at least he went to another team before that. So it's not like he went there directly after like being close to finishing his career with the Sens. So it's not as bad, right?
Yeah, actually, I was watching the game with my friend Austin, who was on the show last night, and they showed Spezza with the management. And he says, how does that, like, how do you feel about that? Because, like, does it, like, is Spezza ruined for you? And I think because Spezza was never the guy on the team, I think it's probably not quite as bad. Just because, like, there was always someone overshadowing him, whether it was Alfie or Carlson.
Hmm.
Even when Spets was captain for one season, like Carlson was obviously the guy. Um, but like, I think part of me is just upset because this is going to sound very petty, and it is, but there's something that I love so much about the hometown players who grew up loving the Leafs not going and playing for them.
Yeah.
Because every time someone does it, Leaf fans suddenly go, "Oh, we're going to get all of them." Um,
Yeah, Stamkos.
so
They were
Stamkos
hyped
and
for him.
Doughty and all that, all those talks. So, but you know what? Like honestly, I'm just happy for Spezza that he got to play for his childhood team. Even as annoying as it is that players are taking league min to play with the Leafs, um, whatever. Like it's fine. He can make his drop passes with the Leafs to end his career. It's fine.
Yeah, I totally agree that it's a ton of mixed feelings about Spezza, but yeah, so that's the explanation for the cursed imagery that is behind me today. Once again, a shout out to Harmony and Sarah for this funny little thing that we had going on there, and maybe the Sens will be able to take the Leafs in the season series next year. I sure hope so because it was mostly close games against them this year, so I'm not too mad about it. Like, I still had an absolutely great time at the game last night. Had lots of fun despite the Sens not even scoring, which was a little bit torturous. But at least it wasn't a complete blowout, so I couldn't have been too mad about that.
Tell you what, here's the trade off. Leafs can take the season series again next year when the Sens take the playoff series.
Yeah, yeah, we'll take that.
We'll
We'll
go
take
with
that.
that.
We'll meet them in round one next year, and then we know
Yeah.
what the Leafs like to do in round one.
Unless it's against the Sens.
Yeah, but hey, but that
Oh
was
god.
that was almost 20 years ago now, so we know what the current Leafs like to do in round one.
That's true. Although I mean the current Leafs, it depends. Listen, I don't want to start defending the Leafs, but I do need to like point out the fact and accept the fact that there is a little bit of cherry picking with this, and that like, oh, that was like 20 years ago the Leafs were doing that, and what do we talk about what the Leafs have been doing for the past 20 years? So
Hmm.
it's there's a little bit of pettiness and favoritism, but I think that's half the fun of sports anyway. So
Yeah. Always,
Sens are cool and Leafs are poo.
exactly. I
Hyphen
agree.
Brochenski.
Always good
So
to have a spirited rivalry going on. So we got
yeah.
a little bit of that yesterday and leaking over into the show today. But that's probably enough talk about the Leafs on an
I was gonna
Ottawa
say we're
show, considering you would have talked about the Leafs last night. So on to the game against the Blue Jackets here tonight. And Corey in the chat saying that only Chicago and San Jose fans are happy about this game, which is probably right. Probably like the Columbus fans in the building tonight were probably psyched for that overtime comeback win, but probably a lot of fans as well for Columbus probably don't want to be seeing any wins at this point in the season either, right?
Yeah, they're probably like heading home, being all like, "Oh, that was awesome, that was great," and then they start thinking about it a little bit, and they go, "Oh,
Yeah, they're doing the
hmm,
reverse standings watch from us. Instead of looking at the wild
yeah."
card race, they're looking at the race to the bottom, and it's actually become a pretty tight race. With that win, Columbus moves out of last place. They're tied with Anaheim, and then Chicago is 2 points back in last place. So it's getting a little spicy down there in the Bedard sweepstakes, or at least for the draft lottery odds.
The only thing I can take away from the Sens losing to bad teams is in the back of my mind, I go, I hope those are the points that keep you from Bedard. But Columbus is actually one of the few teams I'd be very okay with winning the
Hmm.
top pick.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a lose-lose scenario for Sens fans or Sens fans who absolutely want to see Bedard go anywhere other than Chicago at least. So
Yeah, I think when I look at like the bottom five in the league, obviously no one wants to see him go to Chicago. No one likes Chicago except for their own fans at this point. Sens fans, we had that a little bit of beef with Anaheim. I'm sure a lot of people are still bitter about that, so I wouldn't really want to see
yeah.
him there. Although it would be interesting to have Bedard in the same division as McDavid. That would be fun. Although I would prefer to see it on the Sharks if that were to happen.
No, no,
Um,
no, because remember, like, no, because McDavid's going to the Leafs.
oh, that's right. That's
Only a
right.
couple of years,
He's got to
so
go home,
he's
just
got to
like
go to the
Stamkos
Habs,
did.
and then the Sens are never going to make the playoffs again, ever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. If Bedard goes to the Habs, that's that's gonna be freaking horrible. So we need
It's a nightmare.
basically
But
we
could you
need.
imagine a division? Could you imagine a division
No,
carried by
I don't want
Matthews,
to.
Bedard, and Stutzla? It'd be a war
I don't
every
want to
single
imagine it.
night.
And
Every
even
single night.
even Tage Thompson on Buffalo too, and their multiple number one overall picks on defense. Like, holy
Oh,
crap.
Tampa, the
Hmm.
top end, like Florida's top end, like
And Boston
oh,
just never
oh
falling off a cliff, just signing Bergeron to a $1 million contract for the next 5 years, and he's still good the whole
yeah,
time.
and Detroit's gonna figure it out.
Yeah,
Like
they will. They've got the
this
pieces.
this division is never
Yeah,
awful.
so
Anyway,
we
sorry, I
need
just had to.
Bedard to go to the Blue Jackets, regardless of what you think. We just from a Sens perspective, get him on the Blue Jackets or in the Western Conference. In my
I don't
opinion,
hate San Jose.
yeah,
Like
that would be fun. Hey,
I'd
and
be
if they
fine with
keep
that.
Carlson, Bedard and Carlson, could you imagine that?
Oh, that'd be so fun. That would be so fun.
Hmm. I am a little bit biased because I probably haven't even mentioned this on the show all year because I didn't cover either of the previous Columbus games, but Columbus is actually my second team. So I'm a little bit biased in wanting them to get Bedard. Like him, you would just slot him in instantly with Gaudreau and Line probably, and that would just be
Oh,
that would have to be a great
that's
line. There's no way that could
that's
fail.
insane.
Hmm. Or
That's absolutely nuts.
or if not playing him with Line, then playing him with Kirill Marchenko, who we saw sniping on the Sens for the overtime winner tonight. He's a completely beast rookie as well. He's only played half the season and he has one more goal than Shane Pinto now as a rookie.
Wow.
Yeah, let me check.
Okay.
Let me check his exact games played total at this
Jeez.
point. It's
Okay.
52 games. He has 21 goals and 4 assists. So this guy is a pure sniper.
Oh, Cy Young numbers right there.
Yeah,
That's
literally.
yeah.
So
Wow.
Columbus has the pieces. I'd like to see them add Bedard to it, but they need some more big names considering some of the names that they were throwing out there tonight, which we might get into a little bit later. I'm not gonna pull it up now yet because I want to get more into the details of the game, but I did come up with a list of players who were playing for Columbus tonight who Charlie may or may not know their names, and then I threw in a few fake names as well that I want to see if he will be able to pick them out. So we'll get to that
All
a
right.
little bit later, but we have to rant about the Sens' performance overall here, and I feel like in the end, it's not entirely Cam Talbot's fault, but if he showed up to play in the first period, I think this game would have played out a little bit differently, eh?
Yeah, so not including when he came into the third last night. His last two starts, that's what, four, I can do math. 4, 8 goals on 33 shots.
Something like that. And the run, like after he
Wave
allowed,
him now. Like
yeah,
fuck it. Just give Sogard and Marilainen or Mendeleze or whoever, like just run with, because like even if the Sens were like in it still, like over like the like 1% chance or whatever, they might be out after by the end of the tonight. Who knows?
might be.
Like at this point, even if like the standings weren't so close to being set in stone at this point, just with all the injuries, like at this, like just see what you got for next year. And I am so upset with Cam Talbot. Like genuinely, I am
Mhm.
so stark difference. The last game we did together was Philly, and I said off the top of that show that I have never written so many notes.
This
And that
was
was a very
probably the
upsetting
opposite.
game. This is this is as a game that's just as, if not more upsetting. I can't decide which, but pretty close. I have three lines of notes, and one of them is just Talbot sucks. He sucks so damn bad,
Yeah.
and I didn't revisit. Like
Hmm.
awful. I don't even know what's going on. Like, was he also rushed back from injury? Maybe, knowing the Sens medical staff this season, like that's more likely than not, because there's no way Greg is fully healed. No way.
Hmm.
Um,
He played
so
well tonight, though. At least got an assist
oh
for
yeah,
Ridley Gregg.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but yeah, the run for Talbot in the first period tonight after he allowed the first two shots, it's if you exclude like the 4 shots or whatever it was that the Leafs got in the third period yesterday, where they really weren't trying to score. I don't really remember Talbot make any big saves in that game.
No.
It's like 6 goals on like 15 or 16 shots at that point in the first period when he
Oh,
allows those two. If you combine the Flyers game and this game, it's unplayable. Like ECHL goalies, if you just pluck them and put them in, they would not do that bad. Like we've seen Mandolese and Ferguson be able to pull amazing performances out of their ass, and we've seen Cam Talbot play better than this season too, which is what frustrates
right.
me the
Yeah.
most. I still remember that game against the Bruins where he made like 50 saves and we won in the shootout, and I was hyping him up so much on that show. I was so excited. I'm like, this guy is actually showing why Dorian traded for him, and now he is showing why he doesn't deserve a raise on his next contract in the offseason.
I think he's showing he doesn't deserve a contract. Period. Like I think
Could
I think
be.
I sent you a message. I said Talbot's playing in Europe next year.
Yeah.
Like who takes a chance on him at this point? Like, does anyone really like? I mean, maybe like there's someone who needs to hit the floor or something.
Yeah, like
But
Arizona maybe.
I like
Maybe
I don't know
Buffalo.
who take.
Although they got Devin Levi
I
coming
mean,
in now, so never mind.
that's true.
They got their young kids
So
coming
yeah,
up.
like Anderson's got to retire after this year, right?
Yeah, so
You
that doesn't even
think
make sense. Well, you know what?
so?
Chicago will get him. Like how they picked up Mrazek purposely
Yeah.
because Mrazek was bad. They'll get Talbot next. They'll be like, they see this performance of like, we could use that.
What's Talbot's numbers on the season now?
They must have tanked big time in the last couple games. Because here's the thing.
I don't know if they've been adjusted for tonight yet, but
Yeah,
apparently
maybe
still
not.
902
I don't think they have. I think I remember seeing 902 before the game, and then they definitely
before
would
the
have
game. Okay,
dropped. Yeah,
right.
the thing that sucks for me is that for like 60% of the season, I think until Talbot got injured, not this time, but the previous time, like Talbot had a much higher
Mm,
save percentage than Forsberg for most of the season. So
yeah,
it feels like he's just fallen off, and I don't want to like ever speculate on what a player might be feeling like mentally, but I kind of wonder if he's a little bit checked out on this team. Like there's been rumors of the team approaching him to want to re-sign him, and it hasn't gone anywhere at all. And I kind of feel like he just kind of has one foot out the door, and he's maybe not putting in his best effort in these last couple games. That's just like that's me reading into it a little bit, but I feel like that's a possibility.
I mean, I don't know how you explain how like beyond awful someone's been
Mm-hmm.
the last few games. Also apparently Hockey DB has updated already, and it's just 900 even, which I can't believe.
Yeah, I thought it would have dropped by more because tonight's percentage was an 818 in the final.
I can't believe it's 900 even. Which actually, out of the would you like to guess now, with that 900, out of the 7 goalies who have played for the Sens, where does that put him? His even 900, where is that out of the 6? Or sorry, out of the 7 goalies that have
Oh,
played?
um, uh, probably second last. I think Sogard's is worse. Is that
Okay,
correct?
so I do need to say quickly that
Are we
what does it
including the
say?
guys like Mandolese and Ferguson who only played a couple games?
Yeah,
Because
but for
obviously
some
theirs are way up
reason,
there.
okay, hold on, sorry, I am so confused because um it's including Maryland, even though it says
Oh,
games played 1 but 0 saves.
well,
So
yeah, that's
never
not
mind.
even a.
So
It's not even a game played.
yeah. So no, okay. So yeah, don't even include that. So out of the 6 that have played,
I think
um,
his percentage is second worst, other than Sogard.
yeah.
Which is funny because Sogard has been better than him lately. Sogard
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
he just got those stats tanked in the Chicago and Vancouver games, and then other than that,
yeah, yeah.
he's been
Sogard
pretty
with an
good lately.
891, Forsberg with a 902, and then yeah, the 3 goalies, Ferguson, Hellberg, and Mandolese, who combined for a total of 6 games. Um, yeah, Ferguson 940,
Oh yeah,
Hellberg
Hellberg.
had 935 in
Mm-hmm.
his game, which was Detroit. I want to say was it the
He
Detroit
beat
game?
Dallas.
He beat down. Oh, that's right. The
Yeah,
fourth win in a
way
row.
back in the beginning of the season when we were hyped
Yeah,
off
the
that
fourth win in a row.
4 game win
Right
streak.
before that
Yeah.
7 game losing streak.
Hmm.
And then yeah, and then our boy Kevin, our boy Mando,
The
9
Mandalorian.
16 through 3, which like small sample size, but like
Yeah, and he got no help in that Calgary game too, so his
oh
save
none.
percentage was way better after the first 2 games that he played.
Yeah. So all that to say, yeah, Talbot has played like shit and
Hmm.
is very low on the list of a lot of goalies that have played for the Sens this year.
Yeah, I wish that Marilinen had a day off after his AHL debut, so they could just start him today. Because I bet that they would have if it
Right.
wouldn't be forcing him to play back to back. But his
Do they throw him at Carolina? Is that what they do?
oh boy, I personally I wouldn't do that. I think you just feed Talbot to the Wolves in that game. Just leave him in there. We'll see if maybe he can redeem himself a little bit, but I don't think you want to put a goalie's first NHL game against Carolina.
That's rough. I mean, like, so what's the move here? Do they just hope that Sogard isn't hurt? Because it's basically all killers left that the Sens have to play, right?
That's
So
yeah, that's tough.
so what do you do with this guy? Because you don't want to call him up and not play him.
Hmm.
But yeah, like so Carolina, Florida, Tampa, Carolina again, and then Buffalo. Put him in for the last game
Maybe the
if
last
no
game
one
of the
was
season. I wouldn't
healthy.
be
I don't know.
opposed to
We'll see.
that. But you're right. That's the thing is, if you're going to get Marilyn in a game today, made the most sense. But I do think it wouldn't have made sense to put him back to back, playing in 2 different leagues. That would have been really tough
Yeah,
on him.
yeah, because he just had the shutout last night, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
he
But
was probably exhausted.
I do hope we see him in a game this year. But yeah, it would be tough to put him against any of those teams other than maybe Buffalo at the end of the season, because I think it's likely that, well, the Sens are gonna be eliminated before that game, and I think Buffalo probably will too. Like that will be probably a game with no stakes for Buffalo as well, I think,
Yeah.
at this point.
And
Just
like I don't think like one bad game would kill the dude's confidence. He knows how incredible he's been
yeah.
in Finland, and he has a shutout in the AHL now.
Hmm.
But like I'd hate to put him in for like a 5-0 like and with no defense left on the team. Like
Oh God.
whoever you put in that is gonna get no help at all for the
Hmm.
rest of the way here. So
I
I
think
don't know if there's like a good way of giving him a game.
I think the move is that you hope that one of Mandalisi, Ferguson, or Sogard is able to at least back up for a week or so here, and you send Marilyn back down to get more games in Belleville. Uh,
Right.
Because with all 3 of those goalies that I just mentioned, I feel like at least one of them just has to be a really minor injury that they can hopefully be back soon. And I think Sogard's might have been illness, they said. So if he just has like a stomach bug or something like that, maybe he'll be
Oh
back
yeah,
quickly.
if he was just puking it up in the second intermission, like
Hmm.
that's rough.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you mentioned the Sens having no defense. I totally forgot, as we've been talking so far, about freaking Sanderson getting absolutely smoked in the face with a puck. And I can't believe he came back to the game, to be honest. And we saw how absolutely bloated his lips were and a big
yeah,
cut on the side of his mouth as well. That's some
was straight out of Goon.
yeah, that's some serious warrior shit right there that he actually came back to this game. I was not expecting to see him return, and I was worried that we were going to have to cover the last few games of the season without any Jake Sanderson, Shabbat, or Chikrin, and that would have been absolute hell. That would have been Eric Brandstrom number 1D, which I love that for him, but not what we want
Oh,
to
for
see
sure.
ideally.
I was gonna say actually, I had this thought during the game, on I don't know what period it was. And maybe it had to do with the fact that maybe it was during the second period, and because that period was just so painfully boring, I had this thought. But I was watching him fly around the ice, and I was like, man, Eric Brandstrom is like the perfect candidate of like a guy who would suddenly turn into an incredible player on like an expansion team that was going to
Mm-hmm.
suck.
Yeah.
Like he's a perfect candidate of like, oh, he can score 35 points. Like he really would. I think he would. I don't know if he'd be great in like a number one role in a playoff caliber team, but like it'd be a lot of fun to watch him with like, you know, 20 plus minutes a night on just a team that's like, just do whatever the hell you want to do. And here's all the power play time in the world.
That
Because he did look good at points tonight. Like he was
yeah.
flying on a couple
He
shifts.
had a great assist on that Gambrell goal, which
Oh
do
my God.
do we even bother talking about Gambrell briefly being in the top 6?
Yeah, like okay, it's stupid, but DJ was right this time.
Hey,
Um,
I'll say this. You could say that he's right because Gambrell scored, but I think he took Gambrell off of that line before the first period even ended, and he didn't go back on it. So I don't know.
makes sense.
It's a little weird.
I don't
Like
know.
Gambrell
Great
scored.
pass.
Yeah, he
Great pass
scored
from Brandstrom,
so
and that's
early
about
in the
it.
game. Scored 4 minutes into the game, and then it was off the second line pretty quickly. So that was really
This
weird.
the whole other point too is I don't know why anyone would be listening to this if they hadn't watched the game, or if they hadn't watched highlights. But if anyone doesn't know, three of the first four shots went in this
Yeah,
game,
goofy ass first
which is
period.
like the dumbest. It went from being the most chaotic first period to the most boring
Mm-hmm.
second period. I think it's up there for the most boring period of hockey I've ever watched.
Definitely. And the third period was horrible too until I mean until Jenner scored. Obviously that's horrible for us, but literally nothing was happening until that point as well.
Yeah. Just such a boring game. And like even I mean the Leafs game was boring and like call me biased if you want, but like I was saying to on the show last night, and Austin, who's a Leafs fan, agreed with me that like even as a Leafs fan, that game was just boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just a really boring game. And then the Philly game, I mean the Philly game was chaotic but upsetting. So like what's worse, upsetting or boring? So
Yeah.
I don't know. Uh, I did say, was it the game? I think it was the last game before Philly. Which game was that? Was that?
Oh, my memory's so bad. How can I not remember?
This is really bad. This is embarrassing. I just did the show by myself.
Oh,
It was
Florida,
the
Florida.
Florida
I was
game.
at that
The
game,
Florida
yes.
game. I said on the show after the Florida game, there's only like 8 games left, and sure there you can be upset about missing the playoffs, you can find some anxiety and like, oh, are they going to make it, will they, won't they? But I said on the show I'm just going to enjoy these last 8 games and try and do my best to pull nothing but the positives out,
Mm-hmm.
because the off season is long, and by 2 weeks following the playoffs I'm going to miss hockey. I need to just pull out the good and just enjoy these last couple weeks of Sens hockey that we have. And the next 3 games have been such stinkers. I'm trying my best to just enjoy it, but like that's 3 games in a row where I was like, can this just fucking end, please?
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you about trying to just pull out all the positives for these last few games as we're basically eliminated from the playoff race. Not
Yeah,
mathematically at this point, but we're pretty much screwed. I agree with trying to
yeah,
draw the positives at this point, but it was pretty much impossible to do that tonight. Like no one looked good other than like Brandstrom and Sanderson. Like I think the defense was pretty good overall. They didn't allow too many high danger chances to Columbus. As far as I can tell, I don't
right.
have the stats in front of me, but like in terms of the forwards, I think pretty much everyone sucked except for the players who scored. Like we just didn't
Yeah.
generate enough offense. Like you lose to freaking John Gillies who has 878 save percentage in the AHL this year. Like Jesus. Couldn't even beat that
So
guy.
high danger chances 5-on-5 were 8 each.
Okay.
Which like you know what, with yeah how just torn apart the Sens defense is, fine. But then
Mm-hmm.
it's like you got 8 high danger chances against Columbus, who
Yeah.
has also a ton of injuries. Like,
Columbus has had by far the most injuries this year, I'm pretty sure. Maybe Montreal might be up there too. Those are probably the top two, but Columbus
yeah.
is just as injured, if not more, than Ottawa. So we don't even really have that. We had that as an excuse yesterday against the Leafs, missing our top defenseman, but not today. The excuse doesn't work today.
No.
And
In all situations, high danger chances were 9-8 for Columbus. So
ooh, they got that extra one in there.
yeah,
But yeah,
it's bad. That's a
I
bad
think
look. That's a bad look.
yeah, speaking of how Columbus has been so injured, I want to, before we wrap up, do that little game I mentioned at the beginning of you trying to
Oh
guess
yeah,
who is the real players and who is the fake players. Um,
sure.
I have my list written out here, and
I'm
uh,
gonna embarrass myself.
just as a disclaimer, this is not to like diss any of the Columbus players or anything like that. It's all awesome that they're in the National Hockey League. They're awesome players, but it's just I like the perspective of the completely just random guys that you see when your team is tanking, because we saw a bunch of this as Sens fans over the last few years, just guys who you would not really expect to be cracking an NHL roster, or guys
Yeah.
who aren't super top prospects, and yet they get games. So it's
Yeah.
or
Like I think
guys.
a fair way to put it is like if this were game over Columbus, would we be mad that they didn't know who Tyler Clevin was?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah.
Like as hyped as he's been for the Sens just this season, like outside of Sens fandom, nobody knows who that is.
It's true.
So
So we've just got about 5 minutes left here, so I'll try to get this done quickly. But do you want me to
okay.
just go through
I'm
the
embarrassed
whole?
myself.
You want me to go through the whole list and then you try to pick them out?
So do you want to say a name and I'll be like real or fake?
Okay, we'll do it that way. That makes more sense. It's
Yeah.
I have 11 names and 3 of them are fake. Okay.
3? Okay. Okay.
So first guy is Billy Sweezy.
No, that's a real dude.
Okay, you saw him tonight.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to know the first names. If you change first names, then I'm fucked. But last names,
Okay.
I'll be okay.
The ones that are fake, they don't take from a real player on the team's name.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay.
Then the second guy is Yuna Luoto.
That is way too specific. You did not make that
Yeah,
up.
okay,
That's
yeah,
a real dude.
that's fair.
That's a real guy. That's a
Okay.
real guy.
And then Jonathan Doan.
Oh, that rides the line of like so. How do you spell Doan?
Doan.
Like Shane.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made that guy up.
You got me there. I tried to be a little
I was
tricky.
like how many Doans can there be? Because like there's I know the
yeah.
Doan like
I tried to be tricky
drafted
because Shane Doan's
drafted
son is
Coyotes.
drafted by the Coyotes, and I think it's Josh
Yeah.
Doan, so I tried to be sneaky with that one. Tim Burney.
Oh, that's tough.
That's a tough one.
That's fake.
He is real. He played tonight. I know, right? Okay, this guy.
No clue.
This guy has played 52 games in the season. He has 1 goal, 0 assists, and minus 21.
Dylan Gambrell rules.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? So no hate to Tim Burney, but yeah. And then we have Josh Dunn, which Dunn is spelled Dunne.
With an E on the end. That's too. That's real.
You think that's too
real.
specific? Okay, yeah, he's real. What about Jonas Alto?
I'm gonna give you that one. That you made that up.
Oh, you think? I was trying to be it is fake.
Okay,
but I was trying
sweet,
to
nice.
I was trying to be
Okay.
sneaky with that one and do
That's
like,
a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
What about Hunter McCowan?
No, there's a bunch of really obscure hockey players with the first name Hunter. That's a real dude.
Yeah. That's a too specific first name, but it is. If I came up with Hunter as a fake name, I feel like that would be a sneaky one.
Oh, you get me with that 100%. If someone says Hunter, insert name here, that's a hockey player.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time.
Then we have Marcus Bjork.
He's a defenseman.
You are correct about that. Yes.
Yeah.
He has actually been a pretty decent player for the Jackets this year from what I've seen. But he has kind of a funny name, so I thought that maybe I could fool you with that one. What about Justin Richards?
Oh, that's tough. I'm gonna. That's a fake one.
He, believe it or not, is real, and I had no idea who this guy was until I saw his name on the stat sheet yesterday. Like, I said that Columbus is my second team, and I didn't even know who this guy was. Same with, what was it, Yuna Luotu, who is a real guy. I didn't even know he existed, and I follow Columbus as my second team. And then we're almost out of time here, but 2 more. One is real, one is fake. You have Michael Robertson and Jake Christensen.
Oh, 2 sons. Christensen's real.
Yes, that is correct. You got that one.
Yes. Also, I don't know if you just before I don't know if I can get this in right before the end of the show. I don't think we're gonna be able to.
Go for it.
A player for Columbus was hurt, and he had the greatest name of all time. There it is, Trey Fix Wolanski.
Yes, he didn't play tonight, but
was sent down. That's what it was. Yeah, he overslept and was sent. Trey Fix Wolanski.
That's a badass name.
Yo, great name.
All right, so
So shout out to Trey.
yeah, shout out to Trey, and shout out to all the obscure Columbus players who played tonight. I hope that they all continue to have good NHL careers. I hope that I remember these guys' names in the future. But that is where we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Very sad result for the Sens. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And we also have, I should mention last minute, we have a Game Over WrestleMania hosted by Fuad from Game Over Toronto. So go check that out if you're interested in wrestling as well. I believe that should be starting in the next couple hours. I don't know the exact time, sorry, but had to plug that quickly. And you'll be back hosting the next game, right, Charlie?
Yeah, I'll be back on Tuesday with Travis Yost.
All right, sounds good. Everyone, have a good night.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.